Check.
This is working out better than last time. All right, guys. What's going on? This is, well, I'm going to do it like Jocko does, Jocko Willink. Good evening, Eric.
Good evening. Good evening, Leo.
So, this is episode number 12 for the Righteous Anger podcast. And guess what? We've got a new, absolutely new hookah and smoking accessory sponsor, Cigar and Vapes. Out. They've got 3 locations, one in Fairfax, one in Alexandria, and one in Waldorf, Maryland. Okay, so the first 2 were in Virginia. The other 2, or one, was in Maryland. And they were kind enough to, sponsor the show today. And anything else, Eric?
No, we got new rig. It's a Vortex bowl. And we got Sheesh. This is the Hookah John favorite for anybody out there watching. This is called Lebanese Bombshell.
Lebanese Bombshell.
It's spicy.
And she certainly is. Can you guys see that? All right. I'll do it for you guys. It's over here.
Over in Eric Land. Lebanese Bombshell.
Lebanese Bombshell.
It's the bomb.
It's got a cute Lebanese woman, I think, or just some random chick with brown hair. That could be Lebanese. You ever seen True Lebanese People?
No, I've not. Isn't Tony Shalhoub, isn't he Lebanese? Or is he...
I don't know. Who cares about that idiot?
He's the guy from Monk, dude.
I hate that guy.
Oh, no love for Tony Shalhoub.
Excuse me. They're beautiful people. Absolutely beautiful people in Lebanon. Well, not the men.
We love you, Lebanon.
Women. Yeah. Okay, so today, we're doing it solo dolo, Eric and I, and we're going to talk about some different things going on in the world today. It's an absolutely insane, freaking week, I must say. Lebanese women.
Yeah, man.
I told you, man.
Dark.
I told you.
But fair skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like Kim Kardashian if she was pretty.
Aw. Careful, Kim could crush us.
You know, this flavor almost tastes like sweaty balls.
Aw.
Almost.
Almost.
It's like, something so it's bad and good at the same time.
It's like I just want to taste more of it. It's so awful.
This has got to be like what I remember this. I don't know what
It's cedar. It smells like cedar.
it smells like cedar, but it doesn't smoke like cedar. What are you looking for?
Now, we got anything to drink down here?
Oh, yeah, I got some rum and some.
No, I meant like non-alcohol. I'll go grab something if it's upstairs. Where's it? You want some? You want beer from your beer fridge?
That does sound good.
I got you.
All right. If you want to just use the fridge thingy and just get a cup,
Oh, okay.
that works too. Because I don't know if
I'll
we
grab
have.
a beer too.
I don't know if we have any bottles or
I'll
whatever.
grab a beer too.
But beer's alcoholic though.
No, it's late.
Okay, perfect. It is late. So, what the heck were we just talking about? I have no idea what we were talking about, but check it out. Here's the thing. It's been a crazy week. A lot of things going on this week, guys. I know some of you in internet land are going to send us some stuff regarding this crazy week. Actually, all I got to do, when you think about it, you ever go on Facebook just to go see the crazies and let the freaks come out and see what they say to each other? You ever do that? Freaks out there in mother-loving Facebook land. Let me see, facebook.com. Yeah, that's definitely a place where I don't like to. My friends, my wife, they don't like to be on Facebook too long because they end up hating the world and people. Oh, perfect. Here's a beer. There's a beer for me. There's a beer for you.
Up there.
Huh?
Are these for Kira? Or?
No,
Oh, okay.
they're just random Cokes, tiny Cokes. But yeah, there's my wife. She hates. What am I doing? She hates Facebook because.
Tanya hates Facebook?
Well, yeah, she hates Facebook because every time she goes on there, it's like nothing but a parade of hate.
That's the internet.
Which is like the exact reason why I like to go onto Facebook in the first place. I just like to go. I'm like, ooh, you watch a video and you're like, ooh, that's that's gonna bring the crazies out. This is
Oh, there's some shade there.
any yeah anything like related to race relations or anything or politics or
You just like the drama.
yeah. I don't know. I get a kick. I laugh at things that common good people wouldn't laugh at.
Common good people. All you good people
All
out
you
there.
commoners. Yeah, it's not something I'm proud of, but it's also not something I'm ashamed of either.
It's like a train wreck, man. Nobody likes that train's wreck, but they enjoy watching a good train wreck.
Yeah, there's no way you can pass up a good train wreck.
Nah. You just sit there, you stare, you're like,
That's like the next thing that the Nigerian scam artists, they should just do train wreck, promised train wrecks in their emails.
nice.
Click, please. Click for I don't know.
Send $5,000.
Wait, I gotta hold on. I gotta do an F.
Oh, jeez.
Welcome to Africa. Please click open this. This is a train wreck. Train wreck.
You won't
man.
believe it, man.
Man.
You know, all of a sudden he became Jamaican.
I know. I can't do it. I can't like.
Hey, Brew. Check out this link.
What,
South African.
South African. Yeah, I was about to say. I'm having some terrible connection issues here. I'm trying to get on the Fachi book here.
Fachi book.
I'm trying to get on the Fachi book, man.
Fachi ball.
Are you on the Fachi book?
I'm on the Fachi book.
Do me a big fave
What you need a solid on.
and just look. Not all feeds are
Public.
created equal here. So
What am I looking for?
you're looking for some messed up stuff that we can talk about.
Oh, jeez. I got a whole subreddit for that.
I would like to talk about some of the most messed up stuff of this week.
Well, the main thing is that shooting today, right?
Yeah, you know the story?
Not really. It's still kind of breaking. It happened only like 12 hours ago.
Well, a mutual friend of ours gave me all the information.
Oh, yeah?
Whether true or not, and he said that there was some Republican congressman or something. They
were on the field practicing for some charity game.
and then somebody just opened fire on them.
Yeah.
Okay, it would be good to have a little bit more than that, but that's all I got.
Here, let me send you a... What is this? It's a subreddit called No, 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 No.
That's awesome. I like it. No.
Here, look. There we go. Look at that. No. Hammer. No. Bonk.
That's straight gangster. All right, so this guy, he just showed me a video of this guy. Like, he's got a tool belt. He's on a I don't know, like a construction thing, backyard. He flips a hammer up, and it's flipping in the air. It's slow motion, and it looks
wham.
he's walking as he's flipping. It's flipping up high, and it looks like it's gonna bonk him on the head. Give him a concussion, and it goes right into the little slot on a tool belt just for your hammer. Oh my God, that was smooth. That was smooth, man. How much poontang points do you think you get for that?
I think like -3.
What? Oh man, you don't get nothing for that?
You lose points for that one, dude.
Ah man, you got to at least give him something for that. That was
You
amazing.
get like 5 points.
Five.
5 points.
5.
Oh, that's terrible.
What's that?
You a motorcyclist?
I was in a terrible
So,
crash.
see?
I was in a terrible
check that
crash
out.
one time. Oh my gosh. What a
So he's backing up and he's like, "Oh crap!" Jumps off the bike. Oh my gosh!
And then like a Prius, freaking, what is that?
It's like a crossover of some kind.
Yeah, like a Honda Cross Tour or whatever, just smashes.
Smush.
Yikes.
And the guys, you could see the guy's hand. Like, what the heck?
Dude,
Dude,
what was
this is my
that?
bike, man.
oh, that was awesome. So like a Cross Tour or something, one of these like small hybrid SUVs, backs up in traffic. The guy gets off his bike before he gets smashed by the backing up car, and then the car runs over his motorcycle. Just keeps going. Like whenever I bump into anything,
I gotta stop.
it's like a rectal like.
Whoa, insurance.
Yeah, and this guy was just like, nope, all the way.
He committed.
He committed all the way. Jeez Louise. Not that this is good for podcasting, but watching videos is quite fun.
It's a little fun.
I must say.
The what was it? See, it's called No.
And what do they talk about on No No No?
No. They just it's just a whole bunch of little images of stuff that goes wrong. Little bridge, heavy truck, and down goes the truck.
Oh my gosh!
Look at that thing. It just
All right,
whoop.
as entertaining as this is, I'm gonna
You just pivot.
move us on a little bit here.
All right.
So I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast on the way
Okay.
on the drive home, and did you know that his average is 10 million subscribes?
That's nuts.
So and then they were like, because they had a guy named Wheeler Walker Jr. You ever heard of him?
Never heard of Wheeler Walker Jr.
Yeah, you're gonna have to check out his music. He's a comedian. He does country, but it's insane. Excuse me. So they look at SNL's numbers. Their two biggest draws for the year were Rock and what's her name? Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
No, Jenny McCarthy. Something.
Jenny McCarthy.
Not Jenny.
Elizabeth.
No, not Elizabeth.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
The funny chick. Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
And I think it was like 8 million for one.
Was that for the skits of Spicer?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably. But what I'm saying is one episode, their highest episode was 10 million, right? Their average is like, I think he said like something like 6 million or something. So Joe Rogan's podcast on average performs as well or if better than SNL's biggest finale.
He's got more subscribers than SNL gets live watchers.
Right. And subscribers doesn't mean viewers.
How many active viewers does he have on every episode?
I don't know, man, but I don't know. It sounded like 10 million. He said because the dude was asking him, he's like, well, what if you got like 1 million? He's like, we'd be pretty bummed out with 1 million. That'd be a bad day. 1 million.
Damn.
I know.
Living the dream.
It's hard to believe that many people even are like online. You know what I mean?
There's way more than that.
I know, but
You got a billion people on the internet at any given moment.
how's that even possible?
There's 7 billion people on the planet.
Yeah, but that many people
Yeah, man.
all at one time.
At any given moment, you probably have about 1 billion people online.
I guess that's not too crazy. Never mind. That's insane, though. I mean, it's a good show, but
That seems legit.
people look at him like freaking.
You got to think about his history though. Like, wasn't he a host of Fear Factor?
Yep.
And like he's had a Hollywood acting career.
Yeah, you could say that.
I mean, there's people who are going to want to listen to him. People who are going to want to watch his podcast, just for those two reasons alone.
Yeah.
Like former host of a mainstream TV show.
He talks about the beginnings of his podcast. He was like, he really was on some sort of like cutting edge of it. Mm-hmm. Or is there something before like cutting edge?
Bleeding edge.
Is
That's literally what it's called.
like right before the cutting edge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, so like on the bleeding edge, he was on this thing called Justin TV or something like that.
Oh yeah, Justin TV was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, he was doing like dumb little podcast things at the Cellar or no, the Comedy Store before going.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So he was ahead of the curve.
Way ahead of the curve, and so when you think about it, he's been doing this thing for that many years. That yeah, of course it's going to grow if you don't suck. That's the thing, and he gets like people that he's interested in, and now there's this complete revolution in how people consume or where people consume their media, because TV is not cutting it, and I wonder how long before TV just becomes like they just all go, you know what, no more. We're airing at this time once a week type of broadcast.
Well, everything's on demand now. You just have to pay for it. Like, when's the last time you got on your, do you have Verizon or Comcast? Yeah, they do on demand for just about every show you could think of. And you can record, like, for Verizon, I can record up to 6 shows at a time while I'm watching another show.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean...
Well, there must be something else then, because people are dying off on this whole...
It's not... You know what it is? It's the production value. We talked about this last week. The whole idea that the vehicle that they produce isn't meant to do what they intended it to do. So people can go online and they can get the vehicle that they care about, like You like you when you want to listen to Joe Rogan, you can get online. You can listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
You don't have to listen to ads that you don't care about.
Right. I have
With
to listen to his ads.
his ads, right? But you care about those ads because you care about Joe Rogan's show.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but in cable, you don't get that kind of connection to the advertisement. They're trying to target specific demographics with the vehicle. And I guess it's a dying model. Or it's a viable model for a while. You're going to have people in their, late 40s, early 50s who are going to be around for the next 20 years buying stuff.
How long do you think before?
Maybe 30.
How long do you think before the current model is going to become obsolete?
It's dying off. A lot of people prefer subscriptions so that they pay up front, they don't have to deal with ads. So you pay for Netflix, you pay for Hulu, you pay for Amazon Prime. You don't got to deal with ads. You just get the content that you care about. And then it changes the mode for the vehicle, right? They can produce the things that people really want to watch and people really care about. Like the what's that show? The Handmaid's Tale? Have you seen that on Hulu? Yeah, Hulu produced The Handmaid's Tale and with MGM. They didn't even put advertisers into account in that thing.
Really?
The whole premise was like, let's think about what would be a better, more entertaining thing to produce. Is that your... That's a Verizon box.
Yeah,
You just cut off the internet?
Yeah, sorry. And I am completely unhappy with Verizon right now, especially with the fact that the Wi-Fi is down here in the basement, and anywhere around the house it's like trouble. So we're actually buying Google. You hear that?
Google Fi?
Yeah, but
That's all the Wi-Fi machines trying to connect at the same time.
awesome.
For those who can't hear it, this is burst transmission feedback in our microphones that we're hearing. It's that that you hear when you hold your phone next to a speaker.
Sounds like old school, signals or whatever. Like
Yeah, signals noise. Oh, Morse code.
Morse code, but like on the teletype.
Pass the smoker. Oh, nice. Is that our new sound effect?
Yeah, that's.
You gotta introduce it to everybody.
Yeah, so this is our new sound effect. Anytime you hear that, the racist, sexist, misogynist, classist,
Classist works, yeah.
all of the above. The thing that you just heard that came out of our mouths didn't happen. That's like a verbal mulligan right there.
It's our dump button.
Yeah. Now, guess what? I stole it, okay? I stole it from Opie and Anthony, preferably Anthony, or not preferably, specifically Anthony. But it's such a great device, and guess what? He doesn't have one on his show now,
Ooh.
now I'm taking it. I'm taking all of his funny little doodads.
Take it back.
Oh man, what do you got over here? I'm gonna walk over to your thing. Hold on.
Oh, I think Jessica's commenting on the feed.
Oh, okay.
I think she mentioned Jenny, and I was like, and it's actually Melissa. I don't even know if she can hear us anymore. We getting comments?
So your phone was hooked up to the our Wi-Fi.
Mm-mm.
That's why I felt okay doing that. Because I was like, yeah, it's not like we're using the house Wi-Fi, right? Oh,
Still
boy.
connected. You're getting Google Fi though, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't know Fi was in the area.
No, not Google Fi. They're basically Wi-Fi extenders. So it'll work off what I have, which is Verizon. But now I've got 3 of them, and apparently they do an even better job just broadcasting it throughout the house. So instead of just this one, because a lot of people have that problem with Verizon, especially. Apparently the Wi-Fi router is just like a piece of garbage.
The range extender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I dropped about 275 or 279 or something like that. Actually, it was
Whoa, I have a couple of extra routers. You could have just had one.
Oh, you son of a... No, it's cool. Tanya really wanted to try out this thing, so we're going to see if it's any good.
I'm on something. Raider HQ. There we go.
Yeah.
Back online.
Good for you, man. I'm not. Oh, well, whatever. I'll fly... what is it? I'll fly blind, I guess.
No stick.
No stick. All right, so...
What's on your mind, man? What have you been going through?
There's so much. Like, for instance, right? There's this... we're all products of the things that we consume.
We are a consumer society.
And, I watch a lot of things that I guess you could say like that motivate you. And, I look at Jocko Willing's podcast. I look at Joe's. That's pretty much it right now. I used to look at a lot of other things, but those are the two things.
Are you seeking motivation?
Am I seeking motivation every day? Every day, baby. It's motivation to do the things that you don't want to do, like work out or, get up early and stuff like that, And I don't know about you being an Army guy, but me being a Navy guy, I learned how to do all that stuff. I was forced to do all that stuff, but it didn't stick.
It's a habit. You do it for a couple weeks, it'll stick.
No, because I did it for 4 years, just about. And
every morning, did you hate it every morning?
I hated it every morning.
You got to do something positive in the morning, and then you'll want to get up.
So you're saying muster's not positive?
Muster's incredibly unpositive.
Every morning, man. 6
Napper.
a.m. Yeah, exactly.
Where's Napper?
It's hiding. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Oh, boy. Yeah, military muster is not fun, but
not at all.
but
you gotta do something positive in the morning. Like get up, make some coffee, take a minute, pour it in an actual cup.
See, that to me, that's just like wasteful
If
time.
you can't waste time, you don't have time.
Well, okay, so my plan now is to get up at 5 and work out till about 6:30, shower.
You still run?
I just got back into
Okay.
running. Yeah, and then start my day. That's the plan because I'm so loaded with stuff to do between family, business, work, and play. And
You gotta take time, man. You gotta make that time.
well, that's the thing. How do you make the time when you don't have time? But
Yeah.
that you wake up early. That's basically what you got to do. You got to get up earlier so you can do the things that you can get out of the way. So for me, I like working out. But especially with having a 4-year-old, you get home and you just, you're doing stuff, hanging out with the 4-year-old. For me, I do a lot of business stuff, So it's like, okay, I love working out, but I don't have time to work out. Okay,
Make time.
making time. So
Yeah.
getting up early, getting the workout, which
That's your positive though.
that is positive.
Yeah. So you get up, you get that burst of energy, work out, you're good to go.
But I crash hard. So then I started taking branch chain amino acids.
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with those?
No.
So branch chain amino acids are like, well, the reason I take them is for recovery and for more energy after the workout. It actually helps me not to crash, and I crash hard if I don't take that stuff. But let me be more scientific and actually
Pull up the science on it.
pull up the science on branch chain amino acids. BCAAs, the many benefits of branch chain amino acids. Okay, what should I know about branch chain amino acids? Let's see, the little thing is spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and
Let's see, branch
spinning
chain.
and spinning and
So-
let me get the hookah. Get the hookah. I need to smoke it. Ooh,
Get the smoker.
get that smoke. Hey, I like this Vortex bowl, man.
Yeah. You don't need as many coals, and it gets a nice even heating.
That is a nice, very, very like dependable cloud
Yeah.
that we're getting with that.
Yeah. You can control it a little better. I gotta get you a heat management system.
I was trying to get one from Hookah Shisha, and they're bastards, man.
They're
They haven't even gotten back to me or anything. I was polite and everything.
big boys, dude.
Yeah.
Them and the Hookah John, they're at the top.
They're too big to even acknowledge my existence, my email.
Well, they do like what $2 or $3 million of business every year. They're ridiculous, dude.
You know that Latte Mart?
Latte Mart?
Yeah, Lotte or Latte. It's like the Korean Mart thing.
Oh.
It's supermarket. It's huge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you go in there and it's basically the size of Walmart, but it's all like everything.
Asian products,
Not just Asian, man.
Korean products.
Yeah, all of it.
Really?
All of it.
I'm gonna have to hit this up.
It's awesome. I mean, you'll go in there, you can see live animals in there that you can kill
Nice.
yourself, take them home live, kill them,
Wow.
eat them up. Yeah,
It's a redneck fantasy.
you might get a goat in there,
Live octopus.
Oh, you get the best Korean food in there. They've got like shops in there. But
Nice.
I was talking to I'm trying to start a tattoo shop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You were looking for a spot, right?
Well, I found a spot, and the guy, what do you call it? The real estate guy. He was kind of showing me around, and I was like, so what's your big draw here? There's a Lowe's, there's a Home or On Home, kind of like I guess like a department store, but for furniture. There's a Babies R Us. There's like these what they call anchor stores. And he's like, nope. He pointed at Lotte and he said, you see that place right there? I'm like, yeah, the place that every time I drive by, I have to wait like 6 hours in traffic just to get to the next store because like there's a zillion people. He's like, yep, that's our big draw. He said something like $350 million
Whoa. Holy crow.
a year. $350 million. Does that seem good to you? I mean, that seems kind of high. I bet Giant wishes they had those numbers. Food Lion.
I bet they have those kind of numbers across their whole their store chains.
No, I'm saying one store.
One store.
One latte, $350 million a year. And I mean, it just swarms of people in there. You go in there and you're just like, damn, I'm in the third world. No offense to anybody who shops in there. I shop there myself. But there's a zillion people in there. It's worse than Costco.
I can't imagine anything worse than Costco. I just got a Costco membership.
It's a zillion
I
times
can't stand
worse.
that.
It's way
I get
worse.
anxiety. My palms get sweaty.
Well,
I got to get out of there.
This is better than Costco because there aren't like everyone doesn't have a jumbo sized cart. In Costco, everybody's got that jumbo sized cart. You can put like 6 bodies in it. Yeah. So
It's cray, man.
looks like I'm on the
I can't-
Fauci book, but
What you were looking up something. What were you looking up?
branch chain amino acids.
Still coming up?
It's pretty freaking slow. Feed your muscles with BCAAs to recover fast after a workout. Ideal for women and men. Well, no kidding. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so my network is shite. Absolute shite. Nothing I can do about it.
Got to get on that, man.
I know. Well, I told you I bought the little Google thingies. That's gonna help. It's gonna help a lot. So, and I'd like to learn more about the shooting that's going on down in Alexandria. That's insanity. Do you have any idea who it was?
This guy is Hodgkinson.
What?
That's his name. Apparently.
Hodgkinson.
Yeah, he,
Sounds like a good fellow. Hodgkinson.
John Hodgkinson.
John Hodgkinson.
He was a van dweller. You know what a van dweller is?
Is that like a nice term for a bum
Yeah, he was
With
living out of his van.
with a van?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's weird is listening to the radio on the way here on C-SPAN. It was like congressional commentary and like press conferences. They're all like holding hands and singing "Kumbaya."
Are they literally singing Cuba?
I'm exaggerating.
Wait.
but,
Who's holding hands? I'm sorry.
you had Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi like getting along, like legitimately getting along.
Interesting that you mentioned that.
It's weird. It's
yet,
surreal.
Because yet another Joe Rogan podcast I was listening to, they were talking to this guy who has a background similar to mine, anthropology, sociology. He's the guy who, I guess he co-produced Restrepo. Did you ever see that documentary film?
I have not.
Dude, come on, man. You were in the Army. I believe it was Army guys. Might have been Marines. But anywho, this guy's like a reporter, and he likes to go into like very dangerous war zones to report on like how the guys are doing out there. And he was I guess a new book called Tribe he put out, and he was talking about how. And by the way, I 100% back this up, and I know I don't back up everything when it comes to these things, but this guy pretty legit from what I've heard him say. But he was talking about how, and I told you this before, tragedies bring people together. They create tribes, right? So the tribal unit is one that faces hardships and tragedy and what he calls trauma, right? It's part of the human experience, and it's really important. It's like we're made to be able to be resilient through times of trauma.
Okay.
Problem is when you've got people that are living very traumaless lives. I mean, the trauma that we're experiencing is, I mean, agree or disagree, but
What's that?
I would
What's
say
trauma? We don't go through trauma.
no. I mean, compared to even obviously third world countries, but try to imagine a younger humanoid,
Okay.
if you will,
Younger humanoid.
a younger humanoid in the time space continuum. So this is where I'm starting to talk.
No, go ahead.
Talk out of my ass.
So,
But you know, if you look at a guy, you know, with a family that was around during hell, 1700s, 1800s, hell, 1500s, hell, 300, hell, 1200 BC,
oh yeah, trauma.
trauma, like true trauma, death, all the time, recurring theme. You know, dealing with figuring out sustenance. How do I survive today? How does my family survive today? More so than my family, how does my tribe or how does my group survive? Everybody's got a job in that unit, right?
It's your number one concern.
It's your number one concern. That's not our number one concern now. So what is our number one concern? Now it's us. It becomes very individualistic. Some would say very, what's that negative word for individualistic?
Materialistic.
No,
Um,
where it's all about you. No,
no.
there's a word for that, but
Yeah.
basically that, right? Guess what? During the blitz,
Selfish.
yeah, thank you, yeah, very selfish, right? So it breeds selfishness. During the blitz of the London bombings,
Yeah, the Blitz in London.
Blitz
the
in London,
Germany
the
attacking.
German, yeah. So they apparently the London government was ready to administer psychiatric help to all the people that were being traumatized during that time, right? They actually found that during that time, psychiatric need or whatever, psychological need went down
Weird.
and went back up once everything was back to being normal and peaceful again.
It's probably because they were all unified and like, we got to make it through the Blitz.
Yes.
You know, we got to survive this.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
Germany is not going to snuff out the empire.
You remember exactly. So everybody felt like they had a job and they were
Put that light out.
exactly.
Yeah.
What do they call them? Bucket brigades and stuff.
Yeah.
So
You had that in the U.S. too. You had like Victory
9/11.
Gardens. No, I'm talking about the same era.
oh, okay.
You probably had the same sort of effect with Victory Gardens and women going to the workplace and lots of societal changes here.
Well, I'd say something that affected you and I very seriously, 9/11.
Oh, yeah, that was trauma.
We were right out of high school at that point. We were
Watching it live.
young men. We were probably close. I don't know how close you were. I was close to the, New York, and obviously right here at the Pentagon. And the thing is, everybody was nicer to everybody else. Well, why is that?
Kind of have to be.
You don't have to be, right? Maybe you want to be though.
You can choose to, because it's like, look at this thing we just went through. And
You just said the key word.
yeah.
We.
Yeah, the collective we,
So
right?
so what?
Like, you may not have known anybody and you may not have been anywhere near it, but the country suffered a loss.
So it was a common threat.
Yeah.
Right. So
It's because of the symbolism of the buildings, right? Like, that's how you attack a country, is you attack its symbols. So, like, you're a historian. You know all about this. First thing that Romans would do when they come to a town or when they would conquer a village is they would take over their town square or their religious idols and they would destroy them.
yeah, exactly.
So
they would try to assimilate the people
Yeah.
as soon as possible to Roman
they
culture.
would acquire them, and then it would be collective. If something happened to Rome, it happened to you.
Right.
Same thing happens here.
And actually,
Something happened in New York, it happened to the United States.
I think the Romans got that from the cons.
Yeah, I imagine it's an old concept.
It's
Incorporating your enemies' motifs into your own
yeah,
makes them part of your, I guess, consciousness.
which is kind of hard for us in the U.S. going over to places like Afghanistan, Iraq, and trying to be like, hey, try this thing that we do, and it's like, nope, not gonna do it.
It's a measure of how much we have to embrace, right?
I
Like,
guess.
are we willing to embrace Arabic culture?
I think the
as being a-
Sharia law thing kind of throws us off. But my point, though, in mentioning that, right? Do you remember when we were talking about? Do you remember when we were talking about what is the one thing that's going to achieve world peace for all of us?
alien invasion.
An alien invasion. We need an other
You need
outside of the
an
world.
enemy.
We need a world enemy.
Other people have suggested an asteroid, because an asteroid that actually impacts Earth. Asimov, Clarke, Heinlein, they all suggested that. Well, more with Heinlein and Alien, but Clarke and Asimov thought that a more unifying thing would be if the old world was wiped out, like ancient art and ancient artifacts. That if we collectively lost our tether to the past, like if Rome was wiped out by an asteroid, we would never have any of the artwork in Rome anymore. It would be gone.
Whoa. But there's a lot of cultures that lost its artwork.
That's what I'm saying. That
What are you
all
saying?
of humanity would need to lose its artwork, or it would need to lose a significant portion of it, or its
For what?
cultural heritage.
what does
for
that
all of
do?
us to see value in coming together and working together to prevent it from happening again.
I'd imagine that if the aliens came down and targeted like non-Islamic stuff, cultural items, they'd be like, "Awesome, thank you, aliens."
Yeah,
And or
maybe
or,
they
or atheists. I think for the most part,
think about the effect, right? Like think about USAID, or think about all the support that Americans give to other countries. We just open up our wallets and support other countries in ways that, if we weren't able to do that, it would have a detrimental effect. So, I think some people that see that kind of connection. Maybe you don't. Maybe I don't fully understand what I'm saying. I just mean that sometimes what these guys are expressing, like Clarke specifically, you got to read Rendezvous with Rama. He explains it way better. He explains that collective loss, it was something that affected the erudite part of humanity,
Oh, I love that word, by the
like
way.
the part of humanity that cared about it, and that made them all care about every other human. Because now they didn't have any connection to the past. They didn't have any connection to classical artwork or literature. It was all gone. All of
Wow.
Europe was just basically wiped out.
Jeez.
So it made them see value in third world countries. It made them see value in
But this
making peace
is
there.
fiction.
Yeah, it's all fiction. But the concept is brilliant because,
Okay, it makes you think in a different way for sure.
yeah, Heinlein did the same sort of thing, only he did it with aliens and what you're suggesting with Starship Troopers. Like, there was a collective enemy in the bugs. And the bugs came and they wiped out a significant portion of humanity before we actually got them off the planet. And then the whole objective at that point was then to fight them off of Earth and fight them on their home planet and take them out where they live. So, I mean, I think he was paraphrasing, or he was making an allegory to what he was experiencing at the time, like the war in Korea.
I'm gonna have to check that out. What's it called?
Starship Troopers.
No, not that.
Oh, Rendezvous with Rama?
Rendezvous with Rama.
Yeah, it's a really,
Two things.
really good.
Two things.
Yeah.
One. The shisha.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what shisha is the flavored tobacco you put in the hookah, okay? This shisha just went up to 10.
It's the bowl, man.
It's like after you smoke it for a little bit, I guess maybe because it's heated up, it's gotten mellow. This is a good smoke. Number 2, I am buzzed off my ass.
Nice.
Holy crap. Hey, everybody. There's like no drugs in this. It's just straight nicotine and tobacco. And there's nicotine in this, right?
Yes, there is lots of it.
Right. Yeah. We're killing ourselves right now.
It's worth it. Tastes good.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So for those of you guys who want to know what we're smoking Starbuzz tobacco brand. And the flavor is exotic Lebanese bombshell. It's got a nice young lady who kind of looks like Kelly Kapowski a little bit.
You think so? Let me see that.
With a stronger jaw. Doesn't she look like Kelly? What's her name? Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
You know, I could probably look up who this is.
It's just some
stuff.
random. It's some random chick, but whatever. That's kind of cool. You turn around, you look over there, and you'll see. I I love the
Oh yeah,
my
old school pinups.
old school pinup calendar over there that's dated 2016, but I still have it up, just because female form is beautiful, especially to an artist. It's just a beautiful thing, it's hard to walk the tightrope of lust versus appreciation, and I always thought that people that these artists that go to art school and then they have like a nude model, and it's not some old grandpa that's some bum they got off the street, but actually an attractive woman, just like, oh, they're just they're getting their yachties off on and it's like, well, okay, I understand that the female form is quite possibly the most beautiful thing ever created. Well, created.
Ever create? Oh man,
Just created
that exists.
by the Lord.
I mean, we could both agree on exists.
Oh, definitely exists.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
We just got to find that common ground.
That narrow sliver. It's a peninsula of agreement.
Although I don't find beauty in men.
I think the male form is beautiful.
I don't find it beautiful. I find it
You're telling,
powerful.
well, there's beauty in that, don't you think?
Is there beauty in the atomic bomb?
Of course there is. There's elegance in it. The elegance of such a design, depending on which design it is, if it's a gun type or a implosion, a round type. Depends on what you
I guess
it depends on what you define beauty as. Like,
Yeah, see, I think that's the problem.
but if you say the female form is beautiful, there's obviously characteristics that mean it's beautiful.
Well, yeah, and okay, so as an artist, this is how I look at it. Now, there's going to be other artists that are going to be like, oh, bullshit. Oh. As an artist, this is how I define the word beauty, right? And it's very specific. See, there's going to be artists out there or wannabe artists that are going to be like, oh, you're wrong. But I find beauty in the curve, the ratios, and also the contrasts, right? So the reason why I wouldn't call the male form beautiful is because it's the lack thereof of curves. But there is symmetry. I mean, the more symmetry you have, the more, I guess, pleasing the form is. You know why? It's because I'm not gay. That's why. It's not. If I was a gay dude, I'd be like, yep, male form is beautiful. But I almost like feel like I need a distinction.
Think of the reasons you find a female form attractive, right? Think of the very explicit reasons.
Well, I can find male form attractive too, but I wouldn't call it beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. Think of the reasons you would define the female form as beautiful.
I just said it. Round, curving shapes, very elegant.
Okay, now the rationale behind finding a male form beautiful is its chiseled nature.
I can see that. I can see that.
It's, you said powerful. I would say the strength of the form.
You know what? Maybe. Okay, hear this. A katana,
Yeah,
to me, is beautiful,
because of its sleek curve.
but it's very feminine, though, if you think about it. It's very curved. It's very
Yeah.
slender. If you look at like a what do you call it? A claymore. There's nothing curvy about a claymore. It's just straight angles.
It's brutal.
It's brutal. I wouldn't call that beautiful. It's not beautiful.
Have you ever?
Maybe handsome. Can we just say handsome for
Okay,
men?
handsome's fine. Handsome's fine. I think that beauty is kind of dependent on your.
Eye of the beholder.
I was gonna say it is dependent on your point of view. Yeah, trying to think of a claymore that's beautiful.
There's no
No
beautiful.
claymore. But that's, you got to think about that. That's kind of dependent on us. You know, some Scottish warrior has a look at a claymore and he's like, "Wow, that is a beautiful sword."
I wonder if a Scottish artist though if there's ones that'll agree with me and say, no, it's not beauty. That's
Yeah, probably.
something else.
Throw an opinion, you'll find 10 people who agree with you.
You know what they say about opinions, right?
Everyone's got one and they all stink.
They're like buttholes.
Yeah.
I always love that, especially being an artist who has to do art for clients. I'm like, ugh. All right, what's your opinion? What do you think? And I try not to be like a starving artist, because starving artists don't get paid because they're so, held up by this is my vision and all that BS. But like, it does irk me too. Especially if somebody has no good reason for why. If you can tell me, it's kind of like what Jocko Willink talks about. He listens to all of his guys in his platoon or his company. if somebody has, no matter if you're an E1 or his level, an officer, high up officer, it doesn't matter. If you have the right plan and you can explain it, we're going with it.
Yeah, it's a good philosophy.
It's perfect philosophy
You
because
get a good idea, don't question where it comes from. Just go with it.
just go with it if it's the right, if it feels right, if there's good reasons for it. So that's how I feel. I'm like, I don't care if you say my art isn't good or if it needs to be changed, as long as you can give me a reason why, and not just because some arbitrary non-reason, I guess. But my artists out there, I know you guys all agree with me on that one. Nothing worse than that. Nothing worse.
I think you'll get people who are on both sides of that.
Both sides of what?
Both sides of that opinion. That you're definitely going to get women who think that the male form is beautiful. Like
For sure.
for
For sure. But you know what, though? I think that if they were to actually think about it, though, I think they would see it. They would have to make some kind of distinction.
then maybe it's a semantics thing then, right? It's like a terminology thing.
It's totally semantics.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
you would call it beauty,
Right.
they would call it something else, some other word.
I guess beauty to me is a feminine thing. Like I reserve the word beauty for and by the way,
You ever seen calligraphy that you consider beautiful?
yeah, absolutely. And I've seen calligraphy that I consider very handsome.
Handsome calligraphy. Okay.
Yeah,
I can go with that.
Look at some of the Japanese styles, right? You've got some Japanese calligraphy, kanji, which is very flowy and like I said, flowy and slender. And then you've got some, it looked like it was done with a chisel. It's just very straight, angular, and tight, and I don't know, just it's kind of a I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a dumb thing for us to vamp on. It's something that I take very seriously, but it's like, who cares, right? What are you happening over there?
It's just a silly argument.
You have an argument while we're having a podcast?
I know it's a silly argument because this guy is just being ridiculous.
What is he saying?
It's about abortion, and I'm like, I'm a dude. I don't have any.
Oh,
I don't have any skin in the game.
Please bring that to the podcast.
No, I don't want to bring that up. No, it's a bad argument because
You don't have to name names. Come on.
he's just saying like, let me paraphrase so that it don't give away anything. Where do you stand on that anyway?
What, abortion?
Yeah, because I don't like the word.
I stand with Jesus pretty much.
That's a nebulous answer.
Continue.
It's just there's no ethical right answer in my opinion. I think that if you choose pro-life or you choose pro-choice, they're both wrong answers in my opinion.
Oh, we've had this conversation.
Yeah, I think that they're both really bad answers.
Right. So when you're faced with two bad ways, which way is the least worst?
You go with the way that, like, you're a believer, so I would say, at least I wish my mom was here so she could help me out here. The way she explained it to me was that in her life, the choice to have a child or to not have a child was something that was between her and God.
Okay.
That nobody else needed to be involved in that decision. And she appreciated the fact that this country gave her that freedom
Okay.
to make that choice between
Sure.
her and God to decide to have a child
Sure.
or to decide not to.
Sure.
That's basically been what I've used in my life. Like the way I think of it.
You're pro-choice.
Yes, I am. But that for that reason, that if I was to take a pro-life stance, I have kind of I have both opinions.
So what if you knock up? What if for some reason you knock up your wife, right?
Okay.
You're not married, but let's say you're married right now.
Okay.
Hypothetically. Hypothetically, you knock up your wife, and she's like, I got to get rid of this thing, and you're like, no, we're gonna have a son or a daughter, and I want one. Now, what's the right answer?
That's one of those gray areas where I don't know. I don't have any idea what I would do in that situation.
Right. It's tough, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that's where I'm like, it's circumstantial. You can be pro-life sometimes. You can be pro-choice sometimes. I don't think you need to pick one or the other.
So hypothetically speaking, right? If
And this guy just keeps harping on the semantics, and I'm just like, dude, it doesn't matter if you call it murder. It doesn't matter if you call it abortion. It doesn't matter what you call it.
Is he okay? So is he pro-choice or pro-life?
He's pro-life apparently.
And what is he saying? What is his point? I'd love to know his point.
I was making the point that how's it different from a miscarriage, right? Like it's a voluntary miscarriage. the number of abortions that happen in the third trimester, it's like 0.00001%.
What's the difference between a fatal accident and a murder?
It depends always on the circumstances.
Okay, so an accidental has to do with it was accidental.
It can be, yeah. It could be a personally accident, like somebody fell down the stairs.
Okay,
It could be somebody drove their car over a bridge
right,
accidentally.
accidentally, right? So there was no like choice in that; it just happened, right?
Accident, miscarriage.
But then you could actually drive your car into somebody else on purpose, or over somebody, or shoot them, and that's on purpose. I mean,
Manslaughter.
Can we get that? Can we get that? Let's agree on that, right?
Okay, cool.
One is an accident, and there was no forethought, and the other one was there was forethought. It was premeditated, or whatever. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So, I guess his point there is, well, there's your difference between your point.
Yeah, and that's where I was going. I followed on. I was like, well, it's more like voluntary. It's a voluntary miscarriage.
But we see the voluntary versus the involuntary as one being.
It's just that's the semantic part. It's just a different way of describing the same exact outcome.
Well, no, I mean you could look. Let's not cop out of this one.
That's what he said.
let's not cop out of this one. Seriously, if we can agree, at least if we can go so far as say, look, if you one is you did it with the purpose of terminating the baby, and and the other one is the baby for some reason is just didn't survive. Okay.
Okay.
The difference is forethought. One was thought out and the other one wasn't. One was because I don't want to have this baby for whatever reason, and the other one was whether I wanted the baby or not, the baby's not there.
In the realm of the reason part, that's where I'm like, that's between her and if whatever her beliefs are.
I get it, but pretend like you're a woman now.
Yeah, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't want anyone to judge me for whatever decision I made. And there are people who will judge someone for not being prepared to have a child and having said child, and there are people who will judge someone for having an abortion.
So
when they think they should have had the child, and
so
it's crappy either way for some women.
So one thing I never understood was, and we're gonna get people on both sides. We're gonna get people on both sides. So I don't feel bad saying this because it's reality. What's wrong with having the baby and then giving it up?
What if they don't want to have the baby? That's the part that I agree with them having the freedom to do that.
So let's jump 100 years from now.
Okay.
That's probably a safe estimate of time.
100 years.
100 years, and say, okay, well, now we can grab the baby out of there and the baby will survive, and then we can give the baby up for an adoption. Now, is it okay? Can we do that now?
Now you're having a bioethics problem, right? Like that. That's
how
what that
so?
is.
How so?
Because that's technically her DNA, and it's technically part of her.
Okay.
If we're taking it out of her, she has to voluntarily allow that to happen.
Okay.
That would be the bioethical argument.
What I'm asking though is, I'm saying, put yourself in the.
I wouldn't want it to be involuntary at any point in the process.
Okay.
That's my.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
100 years from now, if that's possible, do you think that instead of having abortions, they'll have that procedure?
That'd be cool. Maybe.
It'd be a nice kind of like other option.
The middle ground would be so that, okay, you got pregnant and you don't want to have the baby. That's fine. We'll take the fetus out of you.
Right.
And we'll put it into, what is it, like a stasis?
Yeah.
And then another mother will come along and we'll put the baby in her.
And she wants it, and then there you go.
Yeah. I think that's like the technocratic answer.
So you're actually doing something great, because there's women out there that can't have kids that desperately want kids.
You go another 100 years and you probably have artificial wombs. So if somebody wants to adopt a baby without having carried a baby, or has a condition where they can't.
So if we know now, based on that future hypothetical, that is a better answer than just killing the baby outright, then how far of a jump is it to say, look, it's better to keep the baby, just have the baby and get rid of the baby? So what we're talking about is, but I don't want to be pregnant. I don't want to go through 9 months plus to have this baby. I just don't want to do it.
I think that's a more responsible point of view. I think if somebody's capable of making that decision and living with it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That's actually another good point too. A lot of women who have abortions have a hard time afterwards.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know enough women.
I'm talking anecdotal. I know a few. I know a few women who who've had abortions, and not even Christian women. I know women that aren't Christian at all,
And they've had abortion.
and they had abortions, and then they did have kids, and they were like, why? You know, they're haunted by that. It's very psychologically
Yeah.
traumatizing.
I don't know what to say. I think that's the nature of making decisions. You know, like you
There's
have
consequences to
Exactly.
every decision you make.
So, like the people who say, "Well, there's consequences to getting pregnant and having sex," I'm like, "Yeah, there's also consequences to having an abortion. Let them make the decision that they feel is appropriate for their lifetime. Like taking that decision out of their hands, I think, is incredibly not American. like,
Well, I wouldn't say everything that we do in America is the right answer, but
but we're gradually moving towards that, right? I think taking away freedoms from
our
people.
president is Trump.
Well, yeah,
So let's step back a little bit. Let's not
he's
go.
only been in office for a little while.
Yeah, and already so many great decisions, I'm sure.
But what are we learning from it? That's what's important, right? Like the whole grand experiment of America is we can change things. Nothing is immutable. You know, laws can be changed, policies can be changed. It's a matter of if enough people care about a specific thing to change it.
But going back,
Yeah.
going back to the consequences part.
Yeah.
If Trump for some reason pushes the button, we go into nuclear war.
Oh yeah, we're done.
And we get so guess what? He can make a decision that we can't come back from.
Yeah, and you know,
So what I'm saying
we'll
is
be glowing in the dark, and you'll have a whole bunch of Democrats wagging their finger at you.
so what I'm trying to say is that even in things like abortion, especially in things like abortion, you don't get away with just saying whatever her choice her choice will always be the best choice. That's not necessarily true, right?
No,
Sometimes
but, I mean
it'll-
that's up to her, and that's between.
Right.
If you're a believer,
that's
like,
where I agree with you. I agree with you that ultimately, whether it's legal or not legal, if a woman wants to have an abortion, she's gonna have one.
Yeah,
So
that's the argument I think that a lot of people get lost on.
right.
Like, okay, let's make it illegal. Let's make it 100% totally illegal.
But-
women will still seek them out.
But should we also pay for abortions as well? Especially knowing how many idiots there are out there that are just getting knocked up, right? And oh, there's another one knocked up. Oh, there's another one knocked up. Oh, there's another one. And it's like, okay, great. Now I'm paying for things I don't even believe in.
Okay,
You see what I'm saying?
you
So-
realize that hippies have that argument completely.
So when you legislate things one way or the other, it's a problem.
The problem with that argument is that there are a lot of people who don't believe in conflict and war.
What are you talking
There are
about?
a lot of people who are nonviolent. They don't believe in war.
What does that have
They don't
to
believe
do-
that the United States should be conducting warfare around the world.
Okay, but back to
And
back
that's
to
legislating and making somebody pay for something they don't believe in.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. But okay. All right. So do you think that so you're saying that we should lower our
I'm not making the argument. I'm saying that there are a lot of things that, as an American, you pay for that you may not believe in already.
yeah, but what happens if
I
we
believe in the space program. I
what happens
gladly pay my taxes so that the space program gets funded.
you got to look at these things on people don't have forethought anymore. People don't like actually look at the like long range future, right? So if we don't have defense, if we don't have a military, what ends up happening when the bad guys, quote unquote, have the military and they want to destroy us?
That's a reasonable argument.
Of course it is.
But you got to look at the societal impact of women who are stuck with children they don't really want. Like, I get the argument you're making that there's a national need for it, but it's like a societal alleviation, right? In order to make sure the society's safe,
so how about
you have
this?
to pay for the common defense.
So
But in order to provide a society that's stable, or society that doesn't have a lot of women on welfare or in Section 8 housing or on food stamps, if you want these women to have children and you want them to be successful, maybe give them the freedom to do what they want with their bodies so that they can make responsible decisions.
I understand that.
That's the balance we have to strike, and I think that we have it right now. I think that we have it really well. Like,
I don't know if I'm reticent to say that we have anything well in hand.
I think we have it really very close. There are a lot of people pushing back against it in a lot of different states.
Against what?
Against a woman's right to choose. I think that that's ridiculous. Like, why don't we see how this goes? It's only been around since the 70s. So let's see how it goes. It seems to be, there was somebody who made the argument about abortion being connected to a lower crime rate, but it turns out it was actually lead and gasoline that drove down the crime rate in the U.S. They took lead out of the gasoline, and it caused a lot less violent tendencies in the brains of children and adults.
Look at that.
So there was a correlation, but there was no direct causation. But I think that I just can't rationally tell someone that is on their, let's say, third kid, and they have a fourth, and they're like, you know what, I can't handle it. And then we see these stories about these women who have children that they just
So if that was the
couldn't
case,
handle.
so if that was the case, why not get a vasectomy or something along those
You
lines?
think I'm crazy, but there are women or families who get vasectomies, they get tubal ligations, and they still get pregnant. I don't even know how that's possible, but I've read stories like that.
This is tough, man.
It
Okay,
is.
so
That's what I was trying to say. Is like I was trying to
So-
tell this guy like, hey, look, listen, I know I don't have the right answer. I know that it's a semantic argument when it comes to like the emotional component.
yeah,
You're just pushing around the words,
yeah,
but they still mean the same thing. What you got to think about is the fact that this is a choice that's between the woman,
right,
and if she has any beliefs, between her and God.
right. Okay, so
So
let
if you
me
include anybody else's opinion, you're taking out her agency.
let me tell you the one sticking point I have. Right, I am so ready to be 100%, fine with pro-choice, except for one thing. Right, and of course, it's Christian, and it's a Christian idea of the fact that that person that in her belly. I know it's her belly, right?
Exactly.
But that person is a person. Now, are there kids out there who go, you know what? I'm not my parents. I am my own person, right? You are taking away that person's right to life. You just killed that person.
Yeah.
That's the only issue I have with it, is that if I were to place myself in the baby's shoes, booties, whatever, I'd go, well, I kind of want to live. So
You got to think about that in its logical extreme. Like, would
Yes,
you want to be the
please.
child of a mother who considered killing you?
you know what? There have been
Like,
okay.
think about how that works.
I'll-
Like,
I'll
okay,
say-
you get born, and this mother didn't want you in the first place.
Here's the problem with that.
Yeah,
That happens all the time.
exactly. So why not alleviate it? Why
That
not
hap-
stop it?
That happens all the time, and there's been so many people that have come through that and have made positive change in the world. There's people that haven't. There's people that maybe have become criminals, but you saw the shit fit that. Excuse my language. See, I keep forgetting. Let me. You see the problem where people are running into saying, we should. Who was it? It was what's his name?
Throw the quote out. I might remember.
Carlin? No, not Carlin. What's the black dude's name? That was he's a brain surgeon or pediatric.
Ben Carson.
Carson, yeah. And Carson made that faux pas talking about children of single mothers, and they're all like And I saw what he was trying to say. He said it terribly.
He put it in the worst possible way.
But look at all the people that came out who took it the wrong way, as they should have, right? And they said,
Well, you were a son of a single mom.
yeah,
So was I.
yeah.
So I mean, you got to think about like, what if she had made the other decision? What would her life be like? Like, personally, like
definitely
make it
not
personalize
definitely
the argument.
Not, definitely not better.
I don't know that.
Definitely not better, because now I come from a mom that actually wanted me, right? I mean, she had me when she was 41. I mean, come on now. That's,
My mom had me at 19.
yeah,
So I mean,
that's two extremes. Like, she had you soon, you're an oops, and
Yeah.
and I may desperately want this child. Now, sometimes I wish I wasn't so desperately wanted, because that can create issues, right? In the
I
relationship.
like the idea of a world where every child born is wanted. I don't like the idea of a world where every child born you got a coin toss.
Christians want every child to be wanted.
Yeah, so do I. I just don't want to force it on people. I don't think it should be forced.
I don't think everybody should have sex.
Well,
There's people that definitely should not be having sex.
Hey, we're working towards it.
Really, another you? No, thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
You ever seen that movie? What is it? Idiocracy? Was it Idiocracy? Where it was like just a bunch of bumbling idiots birthing. The birthing rates of bumbling idiots just went up.
Yeah, because they don't have any sense to use birth control.
Right, and then all the
They're
intelligent people,
apprehensive. Yeah.
all the intelligent people are like, oh, we're gonna just keep working. And actually, to tell you,
I have some eggs on ice.
those,
They're in cold storage.
a lot of those people shouldn't have kids either, though. Like if
Exactly.
all you're worried about is your career, I don't think you have what it takes to, raise a healthy child.
And that's why I think that. Okay, so the evolutionary argument for my taste
Ooh,
is that
evolutionary.
in all of human history, actually in every species, well, every dimorphic species where you have males and females, the females are the ones who select the gene pool, right? They're the ones who select who gets to mate, who gets to breed, who gets to have a subsequent generation. So now we've enabled humanity to have this retroactive selection for women. So let's say they do have a baby with somebody and they're like, you know what? I'm not really sure about this. I don't know if he's going to be around. I don't know if he's going to provide. I'm not really sure how I'm going to provide for this kid. Let me make a decision about this. And we get this advanced evolution, in my opinion, where we get this ability to retroactively select whether or not we want these genes to be passed on. So that's my take on it. I think that it's an advantage, not a disadvantage. I think that
You think abortion's an advantage?
I think it's an evolutionary advantage, actually. I think we get
That's
this
interesting.
kind of retroactive selection.
Here's the problem. I see that.
Think about all the.
Here's
Here's.
Hold on, I don't want to lose my point. The problem with
I'll
that.
give you an example. Is what I was going to do.
Okay, go ahead.
The example is like, let's say girl meets a guy. He's great. He's fantastic. They hit it off. They make a baby, right? Oh, sorry. And a couple weeks later, she gets to know him a little better, and she realizes, whoa, there's a huge mistake. This guy's gonna totally treat me like crap, or he is treating her like crap, and she's kind of paranoid about what to do. In a world where she doesn't have access to abortion, she can't end that relationship. She can't end that person's ability to pass on his genes. In a world where she can cut that guy's line off if he doesn't already have children. So, those douchebags out there who don't...
You're presupposing there's such a thing as a douchebag gene that is definitely going to
I'm
come
not saying a
across.
douchebag gene. I'm just saying that specific douchebag doesn't get to pass on his genes. He gets selected for removal from the gene pool.
He's probably having sex with more than one lady.
Okay, say he is.
So,
But the freedom is there.
And there's going to be some women that are going to be like, "Yeah, I'll have your baby."
Exactly.
So here's the problem. It's not a.
But he doesn't
it's
get
not
as wide of a spread.
It's not a technical genealogical issue. To me, it's a. Oh, thank you. He's turning the coals so we can have more coals for our little hookah here. The issue becomes a moral issue, and I know you don't.
Oh, I don't mind moral territory.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a problem sometimes for you, but the issue is that if you have generations and generations and generations where that is okay, just terminate because we're doing this for the betterment of. You actually start to terminate important things that the human race needs as well, which is the idea that, okay, look, this child is an adversity at this point, but it's something that I can love. It's the closest thing in this world that I can love to that extent, right? It's the only thing that I can love. Like,
I love that argument.
So
I do, because I think that that's going to happen anyway. I think that there are going to be women who are faced with a choice, and they'll make the choice, you know what, I can do this. And they'll embrace the adversity. And those are the people you want to embrace the adversity.
You know what
You don't want the people who are unwilling to embrace the adversity to take it on.
But what about the people that change because of that adversity that at first didn't think they could take it?
Well, it's an honest criticism, honestly. Maybe they choose not to. And that's okay.
Well,
Don't you think it's okay? Like, think about, you love to reference Sparta, but that's kind of the same sort of thing. There's a whole bunch of myth around the breeding of Spartans. But what's the main one about the children who were sent out into the forest?
no, they were thrown.
You know the myth.
They were
how
thrown.
this works.
They were thrown into pits if they seemed weak or had some sort of ailment. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, first of all,
Yeah,
you
it's very
now,
crazy. Yeah,
now you realize the Spartans were like a science project of the overall culture to create a race of warriors
yeah.
that would decimate any opposition.
Just in that little vein, that's all I'm focusing on is like the idea that it's not always negative. It's not always negative. The outcome of that kind of
I mean,
experimentation.
you're talking natural selection versus
Artificial selection.
artificial selection, which, by the way, human beings, I feel like
We already do that.
should have no control over that.
We already do that.
They should have no control over that.
I'm sorry. We already do that. When you are courting someone and you are trying to pass on your genes, you are being selected one way or the other.
And we lie to women constantly
Exactly.
just so that we can get our inferior genes
Yes.
on. So
Exactly.
sorry. And here's my thing. Okay? You said, what did you say earlier? You said
It's a retroactive selection.
I honestly don't believe, no matter what we do or try to do, that human beings are going to be any different 150 years from now than they are today.
We'll be taller.
That might be.
Yeah.
That'd be great. But
Because we're selected for height by women. I'm not even joking. That's how that works. Attributes that women find attractive, those are the ones that get passed on. Intelligence, wealth.
let's not say intelligence.
No, it's one of them.
Don't forget idiocracy, man.
Height.
Don't forget idiocracy.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Because there's going to be a zillion women out there that aren't looking for the cream of the crop.
There was a sociologist who posted a response to idiocracy about how it probably won't come to pass that way. We have an education system, and there are people who, yes, they're born to really dumb parents, but they rise way above that.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
If you
and
have dumb
that's gonna
parents,
happen regardless.
if you have parents that don't have, yeah, but if abortion becomes like the thing, like McDonald's, where you just go and do it quick and
It isn't that now,
and it's
though.
easy. But I'm saying if it becomes
Okay,
that,
hypothetically,
then you
becomes
got
easy.
to think about how that impacts not only the physical attributes of the physical features, not physical, but the features of the society, like what they look like or whatever. More importantly, the moral code of that society, the things that actually push a culture to do X versus Y, you know?
Yeah.
And
Well, it's gonna change. I think those things change regardless of like selection. The Victorian era versus the modern era, like you see these values shift, and it's not relevant to anything other than industrialization or a technological advance or something that's somewhat irrelevant to our breeding selection choices. It does have an impact on them, but it's the other way around, I think.
do tell.
Well, you were saying that the breeding selection changes our culture. I think it's the other way around. Our culture changes the breeding selection. And our culture changes with technological advancement. It changes with new inventions and new innovations.
I don't think that they're mutually exclusive.
Well, they're probably self-fulfilling. They work together.
Right. And,
So, like,
and that's why you have people that are fighting on one side versus people fighting on the other.
Yeah.
But that fight's
But-
going to continue, and that's why I think that,
about
I
dating-
think the human race we're always going to be in a stalemate.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I get what you're saying. You're
Like-
saying that it's like a shifting slide rule, like it's a
Yeah, it gradually moves
moves towards good. But I'd say human beings gradually move towards bad. Really, I mean, I mean, from a
It's a matter
moral
of perspective, yeah.
from a moral perspective,
Yeah.
I think that we are bent towards doing the wrong thing. That's why we go, man, why did I do that? Or that was stupid. Or I used to be dumber. Well, you used to be dumber. You weren't wise because you were youthful and you made decisions based on different reasons. When you get older, you make decisions based on, hopefully, wiser reasons. So it's like as you get older, it's better. But look at our society today, which is ruled, media-wise, by the youth. I think that's why we're starting to see, in my opinion, sliding back of certain things.
Have to chew on that for a little bit.
It's a big concept. The vortex bowl.
Yeah, it's a good bowl, huh?
Yeah, it's freaking. I'm impressed.
For those curious, we put the Vortex bowl on. And Leo's loving it.
I'm loving it, man. Like freaking McDonald's, baby. I'm loving it. So let's go ahead and plug. Did you catch the guy's name who owns the
No, it wasn't the owner who was in it. It was just a guy who worked there.
guy who worked there? Okay.
So told him about the show. He said he was going to check it out.
Killer. All right. So once again, our sponsor for today, Cigar and Vapes in Fairfax, Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, and Waldorf, Maryland. Check them out.
Good shop.
Good shop.
Nice clean shop.
Nice
Lots of glass.
Lots of, ooh, I like that. I had a buddy who saw this hookah. We've got the, Eric donated to the show an art hookah, Temple 45, and it's an all-glass hookah. It's absolutely beautiful. And I had a friend come over, and we smoked on it, and he was like, dude, where'd you get that bong? I'm like, yeah, it does look like that. It's not a bong. You probably could use it as a bong, though, couldn't you?
Any water pipe can be converted. It'd be better to smoke it like this than turn it into a bong. You could turn it into a bong.
I'll tell you what, as a hookah, it's kicking ass. It's too hot? All right. All right, Eric.
I mean, that was a deep dive.
I think that was a good conversation on that whole thing. But
I'm getting my philosophical rear end handed to me online, though.
No way.
Because I took a position. I was like, okay, it is murder. Let's get that out of the way. Let's get to the real problem. The real problem is the fact that you don't like that someone has the choice and the ability to commit murder without consequence.
Is it that he doesn't like the choice? He doesn't like the product?
He doesn't like the fact that someone has the ability to do that.
Okay, that may be true.
And that's cool. You don't like it. Tough. There's a lot of stuff people do that I don't like.
That may be true. That may be true. But could it also be, and this is my position, that the act thereof is the problem?
No, I don't agree with that. Because I think there are a lot of things people do that I don't agree with, that you don't agree with, that are perfectly legal.
Well, yeah, legal, but like I said,
Exactly.
America's not perfect.
Exactly.
Our
So
laws aren't perfect.
change the law, see what the consequences are. If the consequences are negative, we'll go right back to where we were. That's the beauty of America, where you can change things if you believe it enough.
You know what? I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
That's the way I look at it. Like,
Don't ever say I'm not a fair man.
No, you are a fair man. I would not be on this show if you were not a fair person.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, I highly respect you.
Likewise.
The argument boils down. Once you boil away the semantics and the emotional argument, it's just you don't like the fact that somebody has the choice to do something that's perfectly legal that you don't agree with. And you know what? That's there's a lot of things like that.
For me, that's not the case.
Do you like the fact that a woman can choose to end a life?
No.
Legally?
No.
That's the argument. That's all it boils down to. The fact that I can say yes to that and you can say no, that's where the disagreement exists.
Do you know why no?
Why?
Because of the product of that choice.
Okay, but that's more. It's an
said-
abstraction from the actual problem.
Now, if we said, do I have a problem with somebody legally being able to commit suicide? I would also say no.
And they currently can't legally do that. And
Really?
there are many states where it's completely illegal, and federally it's illegal.
But what are they gonna do to him? Like, your ghost is going to jail.
Yeah.
They're gonna get the Ghostbusters.
Am I going to get arrested for
Da-da-da-da-da.
this? No, what happens is the people who help them, like assisted suicide is the main thing. So as long as it's unassisted,
Oh, Kevorkian, right?
yeah,
Right.
that's the argument there. But maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the answer to our moral dilemma for
Just have them do their own.
self-service abortion. Here, take this kid home. Do it yourself.
No, but here's the problem: the kid is not her.
Well, somebody manufactures all manner of drugs that people use for euthanasia.
The
Are
only
you going to blame the
only-
manufacturer?
The only way you can make that okay is if you give her a pill that she swallows, and then the baby makes the decision somehow
That would be nuts.
to also swallow the pill.
you imagine the
baby just like
the
hold on.
cartoonish.
The baby's holding on to the umbilical cord, like kinking it
Nope,
off like a
no.
hose. Like, nope. I'm gonna let this.
I'm gonna ride this one out.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy that pill, Mom.
Just choking it off. I
She's-
can't. Oh my god.
He's not taking it.
I could see that little cartoonish baby like, no, I don't want to eat it. No.
Nope. He's got the umbilical cord tied off. All right, Mom. I'm gonna wait this pill out until it loses its effect.
I hate the argument. I hate the discussion because it's so divisive. It's like
It should.
I
be.
get you have a different opinion. I have a
should
different opinion. Let's see what we can get done in the law.
It should
The law
be.
is all that matters here.
Religion, politics,
Yeah.
abortion. It's all. These are things that we. The problem is that they're fought largely. They come to a moral ground, And I think that's where people don't like confrontation, because on a moral ground, it's like, great, you're telling me what to do. You're telling me how to live. You're telling me what it basically, it attacks a person's individualistic or selfish nature.
Yes.
And I've got it too. We all do. But
We all like to have freedoms.
sorry. I mean, well, and that's the thing. Like Jocko says, I love this, being a Navy SEAL, and by the way, an atheist, I believe. He definitely
Nice.
not a Christian. He says from his time as being a SEAL that discipline equals freedom. And I think that's true. I think that to deny oneself something that's not good for oneself is freedom. To not be a slave to yourself or your desires that are going to make you have a worse life or worse off is good. Not chugging 70 gallons of soda,
Good thing.
not being a slave to your phone, good. Not having a drug addiction, good. These are all good things. The problem is when somebody says, I'm going to make that decision for you.
Yeah.
Which is the big problem that people have with God. It's like, how dare you tell me how to live my life, God? But
There's nuance there though that you have to admit. Like there are people who are like, I'm okay with God telling me how to live. I don't want some pastor or some person who is a representative of God to tell me how to live.
okay.
Like I can interpret that myself. I don't need you to help me with that.
Which is why the person of Jesus Christ is so important in the argument, because if you believe that Jesus actually is God come down, then it's like, okay, well, God did tell us what to do. If you don't believe that, then basically you're going on whatever you feel is right.
Okay, yeah. I just mean like in the context, right? How dare you tell me what my relationship with Jesus is? That's my relationship.
Agreed.
So that's, I think, what a lot of believers have a problem with certain types of churches. Like you wouldn't want the Catholic Church putting out edicts telling you how to live, would you?
Well, when they start making stuff up, yeah, that's a
Exactly.
problem.
And I think that's where it comes down for a lot of people who are believers but don't like institutions.
Do you know why one of the reasons the Pharisees hated Jesus so much?
What's that?
It's because he simplified things. Now, the Talmud, has hundreds of pages. I mean, it's volumes. It's as many books as half of this encyclopedic thing right here
It's a big book.
of law. Now, where did that come from? It came from God's law, but then they started adding things to it to ensure that people lived within that law. What, is it okay? He's blowing on the hookah. He's purging the smoke right now to make it less harsh. Am I right? Okay. The problem with the Talmud, in my opinion, right? And the reason why I think that the Pharisees hated Jesus is because Jesus came and said, okay, all these other laws are dumb. You're getting away from, you're becoming legalistic in a bad way. You're starting to complicate things. It's very simple. And you're making it not simple. Why? Because it gives you power. If I can make things just like the Catholic Church,
Yeah.
at one point they were selling indulgences, they were doing whatever the hell they wanted, because they were able to say, hey, guess what, lay people, you can't read this stuff. We can. So we make the rules. And when you have people that bastardize something and take advantage of something like that, it's politics basically.
Yeah.
That's what we're mad about. We get fired up about people that are in power over us that take advantage of us.
Yeah. I think we're in agreement about that.
Yeah.
And I think that the believers out there who are very anti-institution, that's their perspective.
But that's not the reason why in our core we fight against God, basically. I think the reason why I fight against God is because we want to do whatever the heck we want. But you have this, you have a creator that said, look, I made you, and that's not going to be good for you. That's going to get you in a bad spot.
I thought about
it's my decision though.
It's interesting you bring that up because I saw Alien Covenant recently. Have you seen that?
Yes. Actually, I saw it before you miraculously, somehow.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I'm
Great.
jelly.
Great movie.
So one of the things in that movie that made me really think was, okay, disobedience. That's one avenue, right? And then there's obedience.
You're talking about David?
Yeah, there's he was either he was faced with the choice of I can be disobedient. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Ding,
Spoiler
ding,
alert.
ding, 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 ding.
All right, if you haven't seen Alien Covenant, go see it and then listen to the rest of this podcast.
All right, here we go.
All right.
So David represents this kind of creation, right? And the creation is given choices, and he's got the choice of being obedient to his father, Waylon, and he's got the choice of being disobedient to his father.
Yeah.
And you see in that scene in the very beginning when he says, "Come pour me tea," or "Come bring me the tea." He's across the room, and he comes across the room and pours the tea. I thought that was symbolic of his childhood being obedient. And then you see in Prometheus him being completely disobedient. But then you see this third phase that I didn't realize is so powerful or potent until the end of the movie. He's curious. It's completely not disobedience, it's not obedience. He's just curious. He's exploring his existence. And that is one of those things where I'm like, what's the fine line there?
Okay, so the fine line there. I mean, if we're talking about that as being like an allegorical,
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was an allegory for mankind's curiosity.
the problem with that is that he actually killed Waylon.
Well, no, he didn't. The Promethean did.
Oh, I'm sorry, Promethean killed.
Well, the engineer did. Whatever they're called.
I gotta watch that again. So in essence, that would be like if God died and was gone, right? So with no God,
Nietzsche said it.
well, yeah, but do you realize that? Okay, we'll get into that context. There's context.
I get
there.
the context. I'm just joking with you.
Yeah, Nietzsche was saying that the society would be worse off because of it. But anyway, the character of Waylon, right? He's supposed to be like this godlike figure to David because he created him. Problem is, Waylon's dead. So that's like saying, okay, God is dead. So if God is in fact dead, that means that your being is not so powerful, right? You're able to surmount that God. Therefore, bam, David's doing that. David's able to make his own way. And yeah, it's evil as hell, but
Is it though? That's the part that I struggled with at the end of the movie.
what's that?
Like I thought, was what he was doing actually evil from his point of view?
Well, wait, did Waylon give him
Waylon never gave him a moral compass.
And that's the problem. I'm
Exactly.
saying when you have a moral compass and you have a God that's not dead and a God that you can't surmount, now it's like, okay, well, but God did give you free will. Are you going to obey or are you not going to obey? And guess what? Just like you said
What
earlier,
if I'm just curious?
and just like you said, there's consequences, okay? So you can be curious and you can do what, look, you have kids,
Yeah.
right? You have two boys. When they do something that you told them not to do and they get hurt, you go, that was a consequence. It was the consequence.
Okay, what if they did something I didn't tell them not to do? Well, let's say they did something I told them nothing about.
Like what?
Let's say they were exploring a new programming language just because that's a better avenue for me. And I really don't like that programming language, but they didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Their curiosity led them to a place of disobedience. Is that wrong?
Not really a disobedience.
Is it though?
Did you tell them not to do it?
That's the problem,
Not
right?
disobedience.
If you're not told not to do something,
Well,
is it truly disobedience?
so tell me the thing that would be morally wrong that God didn't tell us.
He didn't say we can't create life. He didn't say we can't create a new life, a new species, He didn't say we can't create.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Exactly. So would that be morally wrong or right?
To create what?
Any life. Like David in this situation, that's what blew my mind is like David was never told he can't create life.
I can't
He was
think
told he can't kill, and he was told he can't allow a human, or I don't know if he had the moral compass with the robots laws, but he was never explicitly told that he can't create.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can't think of any like scripture or anything that says you can't create. But
That was the part that blew my mind from the storytelling point of view, right?
But
Ridley Scott was making this really potent allegory about if God was in a position where he did not tell us to do something and we went ahead and did it, would it be an evil act?
you think that's what the message was?
I thought that was the allegory he was trying to make.
Okay, interesting.
Like David is supposed to, I thought David represented mankind's curiosity.
It's not a perfect allegory.
No.
Because like I said,
that's
Waylon,
what I took from it. I don't know if that's right.
Right. But I mean, it's interesting. But I would say that there, in the thing, our moral code, I would say our moral code is exhaustive. And I would say it's like simple, but it's also exhaustive. It takes care of everything. It's very, it's easy for us to understand, And it's not so much that we will forget what to do and what not to do. And I would even say that our moral compass is within all of us to some
Yeah.
respects, right? That was the whole point of the Pharisees thing.
Making the law simple.
No, yeah, well, where the Talmud, where they made it difficult so that you had to go and conference with these holy men, quote unquote, in order to stay in line, right? It shouldn't be that difficult. It never was meant to be that difficult, because you're supposed to have a personal relationship with God, your creator. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. No, I'm staying with you. I just
So what I'm saying is that as far as like a true allegory is that we have all the tools, whether we want to use those tools, follow that code or not. Do what you want. You have free will. There's going to be consequences
for sure.
to whatever you do. Good consequences or bad consequences.
It's that unknown that I kind of took away from what David did. Like,
And a good, you know
nobody
what?
knew he was going to do that.
Go down that road further, and then start like make a list for me, man. I want I want to know what are the things that you feel like. What are the avenues that you feel like would fall into that? Hey, I don't know. I don't know if this is morally right or morally wrong, but it's a place where I'm exploring. You know what I mean? For most things, I can tell you, yeah, that's morally, that is not helpful for you, or that is helpful for you. But some things maybe are more difficult, like the abortion thing. Well, the abortion thing's not difficult. It's not. It's not hard.
We came up with a good solution.
This is what I want to say earlier. It's not hard to understand, but it's hard to follow.
Oh yeah.
It's not
I
hard
get
to
that.
understand.
I just meant that in the Alien Covenant, I thought that it was a very good illustration of, at one point he's doing something that you're morally uncertain about because he wiped out the engineers. But given what the engineers were doing to various species across the galaxy, you were like, okay, well, I don't really care. Good for them. They deserve to be wiped out.
Yeah.
But then you think about, okay, well, now he's in the same situation with humans, and you're like, okay, now I have a problem with what he's doing. Wait a second. I didn't have a problem with it when he was doing it to engineers because they're exactly. But maybe it's not other, because you should sympathize with that kind of genocide. You should sympathize with people who are, I guess, slaughtered and wiped out, whether they're human or not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But then you have to question Wayland, right? Why did Wayland create David in order to find the engineers? Like, that was his sole purpose. You get that in the first 5 minutes of the film. It's like, I made you to find answers. And in David's quest to find answers, he did some extremely repugnant shit.
Yeah.
Because there's no other way to put that.
Yeah. Which is another reason why I'd be kind of.
But that was his purpose. He was built with the purpose of finding answers.
I'd be wary to say that's an allegory for God, because I mean God creates us so that He can figure out answers. No, that would be that would be an imperfect God.
Would it be?
God created us for a
I
relationship.
think that would be a. If I was going to believe in God, I think that would be a morally
all-knowing, all-powerful.
See, my problem with that is
Why have a God that doesn't know more than you can? What's the point of that God? Is that even possible?
yeah.
Really?
Why not?
Well, just because you can create something.
If it's outside of your imagination, I think it's possible that it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, if I can't imagine it, it's possible.
But the fact that you can imagine, you are imagining.
No, I can't imagine.
you are.
You're saying
imagining
you can't wrap your head around a God that's fallible, right?
No, I'm saying it doesn't make sense.
Why not? That's what I'm asking. Like, if there was a scenario in which we were created in order for God to get answers about a specific question, why is that such a bad thing?
Now, well, that's two different questions.
I'm
First
asking
of all-
both. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Think about
That's a fun game to play.
it's
That's a fun game to play.
wrap your noodle around it.
But like I said, the problem is a God that's looking for answers, right?
He's not supposed to make sense to us, right?
How did God create us? If God did create us,
We're at the point now where we can create life. We can write DNA.
we can't even replicate an eyeball.
Oh, of course we can.
We can.
Oh, of course we can.
The same way?
Not exactly.
Exactly.
Not yet. You gotta wait, man. The stuff they're doing at Wake Forest, they can grow a bladder, brand new, it's brand spanking new.
That's a little different, isn't it?
It is a little different, but it's still a part of your body that we can replicate in a lab
But
create it.
But you're not using 100% synthetic material.
Well, that's on its way also.
See,
I'm just saying the timeline, right? We're at a point in time where we're at the precipice. Like it's just before, like if we were to have an analogy, it's just before the digital information revolution. It's the late 70s and the internet's about to drop. The internet's about to become electric.
So Eric,
The bio revolution is happening, man.
Eric.
What?
Are you telling me that we should sit back, crack open a beer, and see what's about to happen?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Next 30 years, man, the biotech revolution is going to change the face of the planet, man.
Guys, I want to just thank you for checking out another Righteous Anger podcast where sometimes we get a little deep. And
a lot deep.
And hopefully, we can continue to bring on great guests that are going to open our minds to new things. Obviously, just having Eric on the podcast has always been amazing.
I'm mostly BS.
Just a great wealth of BS and knowledge.
Just lots of BS.
Guys, this has been another great podcast. Again, I want you guys to check out a few of our sponsors. We've got Cigar and Vapes is our sponsor for today's show. Check out Vicar Studios. They also are another sponsor of ours. And we are also, Eric and I are actually putting out a T-shirt company.
Yeah, look out for it. Epilogue Apparel.
Epilogue Apparel. You can check us out at epilogueapparel.com and epilogueshirts.com. That's coming out very, very soon. We're actually in the final stages. If you guys have any ideas for shirts, go ahead and put them in the comments. What we'll do is we'll collect them. We're going to see which one of the best ones. And if yours is chosen, we're going to contact you so that you can get your own free shirt. And guys, thanks again. We're signing off.
Thanks for tuning in.